Hello, thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Leo Magayon. I am a teacher for the Los Angeles Unified School District. I teach at a school called the Boyle Heights STEM Magnet High School. I just finished up my 10th year as a teacher, and over the years, I've had the opportunity to teach courses in Algebra 1, Geometry, AP Statistics, physics, introduction to engineering design, AP computer science principles, and a few other science electives. So just a little bit of everything, I suppose. At the school site, I'm also the mentor for our school's first robotics team, our VEX IQ challenge team, our first Lego League FLL robotics mentor team at our school, and I'm also involved with our school's MESA, Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Schools program in partnership with Cal State LA. At the school site, I'm involved with our school site council, governing school council, positive behavior intervention support committee, as well as our instructional leadership team. Today, I will be sharing with you a portion of my Cal APA state assessments. To start off, first, a profile of the School of Focus. Again, it's the Boyle Heights STEM Magnet High School through LA Unified. We have an enrollment of about 185 students, so it is small. Uh, our school is what's called a pilot school. So the pilot school movement started in the East Coast, essentially made its way to LA Unified, and it's supposed to be a teacher-led and teacher-driven school. So I was on the founding team. We wrote the plan 6 years ago, submitted it to the Board of Education for the LAUSD, and we were approved. And the reason we opened it was because um, we wanted to be able to provide authentic STEM-based curriculum to our students during the school day, and not just have it be supplemental stuff after the school. So try to really infuse that engineering curriculum to be a part of the school culture rather than just something extra on the side. So I'll talk a little bit more about how all that works as we move along. So our school, again, we have about 185 students. This year we also transitioned over to as a magnet school as well, to be able to offer our curriculum to more students within the LA Unified enrollment region. And so our enrollment has dropped a bit. 98.1% of our students identify as Hispanic or Latino. 71% are socioeconomically disadvantaged. 23% of our students have some sort of disability. We have about 17% of our students that are English learners. And on top of that, again, one of the things that makes our school special, we're a Link Learning Silver Certified school, which means that we're part of this program that integrates our curriculum with work-based learning opportunities, and we meet certain requirements and criteria to be able to be certified, and we're actually in the process of gaining gold certification also. There's only, I believe, 12 schools in the state that are gold certified. Again, we offer a Project Lead the Way engineering curriculum. So PLTW, as it's known, is a nationally recognized engineering curriculum that is created by college professors and industry professionals. So in essence, our ninth graders take courses where they learn how to do 3D modeling. And so we get some of our students from years past. They're in their third, fourth year in college as engineering majors. They're barely learning these types of software, and we have our students do it as ninth graders. Again, first robotics. You can see that's a picture of one of our robots there and a couple of our students. We're Team 5802. First is an international robotics competition where students every January, right, teams are given 6 weeks to create and design a robot that could complete a series of tasks. There's a different theme every single year. Previous year was deep space, so it was kind of like a Star Wars theme. In 2018, our students won the LA Regional. So that means they beat out teams from Huntington Beach, uh, from the Bay Area. So teams from all around more affluent neighborhoods, and our team got a chance to go to Houston for the World Championships as well. Again, we have a VEX and an FLL mentorship team where our students learn how to use the software, and we reach out to local elementary and middle schools so that our students actually are mentors for the teachers. They teach the teachers how to use the software. In the process, we were able to host a total of 5 different robotics competitions. We also have the Mesa Schools program in collaboration with CalSet LA as well, also a nationally recognized program. Again, we're a special school. We have only one administrator or principal, so the notion of shared and distributive leadership is alive and well in our school. I'm going to go ahead and read our school's previous mission. We changed it at the end of this school year, but what we had before is the mission of the Boyle Heights STEM Magnet High School is to inspire the Boyle Heights youth to develop 21st century skills needed to lead in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math through a rigorous academic program in conjunction with collaborative community partners. The vision is to be able to create a school where a collaborative staff will increase the number of students who enter college and graduate with a STEM degree. There's a total of 6 SMART goals for the school. So 1, the school will reach a graduation rate of 86%. 2, 76% of students will demonstrate proficiency in ELA with at least 1 semester grade of C or better in their ELA class as measured by student semester grades. 3, students will enter grade 11. Students in grade 11 will increase the average distance from standard on the ELA SBAC by 66 points. 4, 72% of students will demonstrate proficiency in math with at least 1 semester grade of C or better in their math class as measured by end of semester grades. 5, students in grade 11 will increase the average distance from standard on the math SBAC by 81 points. And 6, the percent of English learners who reclassify will be 22%. In going into the data dive, I looked at information from our dashboard first. Obviously, mathematics for me, because I'm a math teacher, we did go up 2 bands from red to yellow, and we increased a total of 73 points. We're still 66.9 points below standard, but we showed some growth. So looking deeper, I did look at a few other data tables as well. In looking at the percent of 11th grade students that met or exceeded SBAC math, I specifically looked at English learners. We could see that the drop is a lot greater for English learners from 2 years ago to last year compared to all students in general. If you look at the percent of students with a C or better in math courses, 61% the previous year for everyone. English learners are only at 38%. So in looking at this data, the CASP math data for my school for the past 3 years, the data show the percentage of students that met or exceeded standards based on the math content standards. These data are relevant because there has been a drop in proficiency rates in all subgroups for the last 3 years. Specifically, there's a 31% drop, 36% to 5.5 in overall proficiency. Similarly, 4.55% of English learners demonstrated that they have met or exceeded math standards last year. This second set of data shows that the percentage that in the previous year, 61.6% of all students earned at least a C or better, but only 38% of English language learners did so. So an interesting observation is that 61% of students with disabilities earned a C or better, which is very close to the overall population. But these data as a whole help to frame a picture of possible equity issues that are present at the school. So in going deeper and performing extended data collection, I looked at 3 different data sources. I looked at instructional rounds or classroom observations, our PD plan for the year. I reviewed it, what's on there, and also since we recently went through WASC accreditation. So what I did notice was that the 3 quantitative data sources that were selected, these were selected because the 2 documents are supposed to include student data analysis and a plan of action. And the classroom observations are supposed to be the evidence of the work that's being done to best serve students. The math classroom observation data revealed that there were low levels of engagement between student and teachers, but that there were some levels of discussion between students. Teachers asked mostly DOK1 and DOK2 questions, used mostly cold calling strategies to call on students. There was also limited use of technology in 5 of the 13 classrooms. There were also few instances, about exactly 11 of them, in which teachers checked for student understanding. There was limited, if any, differentiation for varied learners that was taking place beyond the use of a graphic organizer in one classroom. The review of school-wide PD plan revealed that PD time was used to cover a wide range of topics for school-wide content alike and department purposes. Although topics are listed in the plan, there are not specific strategies that are outlined. It appears that there is very little time to reflect as well. Also, there does not appear to be any assigned time to meet by department outside of those few PD meetings that are outlined in the plan. According to the week by week outline, there's at least one time when departments go 4 weeks without meeting. So that means that some time has to be dedicated after class in order to be able to do that, or after PD time, after school. The WASC action plan did outline the need to address the needs of specific demographic groups, including ELs and students with disabilities. It calls out to use differentiation strategies for all subgroups, including the use of the claim evidence reasoning protocol, use of exit tickets, and constructive conversations, which occur 4 times a semester. Additionally, the plan calls out to use a mastery-based learning and grading system to provide multiple opportunities for students to reach mastery. This is to be done by having teachers create standards-aligned learning targets with multiple versions of targeted assessments during common conference periods. Finally, there is a connection to the school's mission and vision and student learning outcomes. Standards-based tasks should align with the SLOs and with learning targets. Additionally, there's a SMART goal listed to increase the percentage of students that earn a C or higher in mathematics, ideally, hoping that it will increase from 61 to 72%. In moving forward, in looking at the data, the identified problem of practice, again, this was in a collaborative group after seeking out stakeholders in the school, or specifically teachers that implement mathematics instruction and work with EL students specifically. We determined that the problem of focus would be on English language learners. So the equity gap that needs to be addressed refers specifically to English language learners, as back rates of meeting or exceeding standards for math in grade 11 have been declining for each of the last 3 years at the school. 3 years ago, 36% of 11th grade students met or exceeded math standards, and last year it dropped down to 5.5%. There were no results available for English language learners 3 years ago, and they outperformed the overall school population 2 years ago, but only 4.5% of EL students met or exceeded standards last year. This represents a 26.65% drop for ELs. And when you compare this to the school overall, that had an 18.74% drop, this identifies an issue, a problem. Additionally, while 61.6% of all students earned a C or higher in their math class, only 38% of English language learners were able to do this. So again, this is a 23.6% gap. So this rate is significantly lower than all other subgroups and represents a problem at our school. So what are existing collaborative structures at our school site? So outlined, I do mention weekly PDs, adaptive schools training, UCLA Center X has done workshops at our school as well. And we operate under the linked learning framework, connecting career readiness with college readiness, and using the behaviors of learning and teaching within that, and the principles of project-based learning. So at our school site, we do meet every single week on Monday mornings from 7:50 to 9:25. That means students come in late. There's opportunities for them to do tutoring and whatnot. But we meet every single Monday. During this time, we go through 2 professional learning cycles per semester, including curriculum planning, reviewing of teaching strategies, lesson design studies using the Atlas protocol, student work analysis using the Atlas protocol, data review, and time to be able to create formative assessments. We also go through 2 instructional rounds, classroom observation cycles a semester, where we collect data on the instructional strategies that are being implemented in the classroom. So the overarching themes that we address on these Mondays are rigor, using student work analysis, PVL analysis, standards-based tasks, and writing across the curriculum, and also rubric development. 2, differentiation, looking at formative and summative data analysis for GATE, EL, and SPED students. And 3, college and career readiness. This is typically through we call it STEM Lab, but it's our advisory period, so that we plan those college and career readiness activities and units during that time, as well as our work-based learning opportunities and experiences. So the instructional foci are closely related to student needs, and they serve as a foundation for teachers to use their instructional planning time effectively. Additionally, we do have our instructional leadership team that meets twice a month that helps create the structure for the professional learning. And then once or twice a semester, all English and math teachers participate in professional learning, a pull-out day on separate dates to be able to plan and look at data that is for their respective departments. This is the 6th year of the existence of our school. During the 1st and 5th year, the entire staff did receive training using the Adaptive Schools framework, and the training did help staff go through the process of developing identity and capacity, developing group norms for meetings, and sustaining communities. More than anything, I feel that the training provided structures for having professional meetings, including discussion protocols, how to make school-wide decisions as well. Year 2 and 4 of existence, we had a contract with UCLA Center X. They provided training on the topic called writing across the curriculum, and also a short training on cognitive coaching. And then during year 3, all school staff completed a week-long training on linked learning, which is supposed to help make a connection between what's going on, school-based curriculum and industry standards, to help create a work-based learning opportunities for all students. So within these trainings, students, or in this case teachers, learned of the behaviors of learning and teaching, a framework that describes the progress of students, teachers, and industry partners towards meeting linked learning objectives. And again, all meetings were started, and we implement the 7 norms of collaborative work from the Adaptive Schools framework as well. Addressing the problem, once we got the team ready, we went through a process and we did 3 different things. We aligned our curriculum to our learning targets that we created during our professional development. And then we also aligned our curriculum and learning targets with the interim assessments that are provided through the state and are used by the department to be able to analyze data and make decisions. We analyzed by engaging in lesson study using the Atlas protocol, look at lessons before we deliver them to students, so that we're able to implement and target specific instructional strategies that we are all to use in our department. And then finally, monitor. So a couple of things here. After the lesson study is complete and the teacher gives the lesson to the students, they collect student work, we analyze it, and we then go ahead and perform instructional rounds, again, to observe implementation and provide coaching for all of us. So we did this complete cycle between us as well. So not all of us had common planning periods to be able to meet. So that means that we had to meet after school in order to be able to do that. So again, we did this because we're big believers that tasks that students work on predicts their performance. So that means that if they're working on high quality assignments and assessments, then their performance would be of high quality as well. So again, we analyzed student work using the Atlas protocol and took note of differentiation strategies for different student subgroups, their level of rigor of the task at hand, and closely looking at the types of responses that students provide. So the lessons did have a specific focus on 3 items. So varying levels of questioning, whether it be DOK 1, 2, or 3. 2, purposeful grouping, so the way in which students are grouped to work and complete tasks. And then also the use of discussion strategies to be able to get more students to participate, communicate, and share their learning as well. The leadership framework, and all in all, we did not get to go through a complete cycle because, again, of school closure and whatnot, but we were able to go through 3 lesson studies, and I think there were two others in my group as well. We didn't get to review again at the end, but the leadership framework that I feel best represents my actions as a current site-based leader and future administrator as well would be that of Bowman and Deal, the 4 frames of leadership, specifically with a focus on the structural frame. So the structural frame emphasizes goals and efficiencies. It makes sure that there is an emphasis on effective organizations that define clear goals, differentiate people into specific roles, and coordinate diverse activities through policies, rules, and a chain of command. Structural leaders value analysis and data. They keep their eye on the bottom line and set those clear directions to be able to hold people accountable. So the focus is on tasks, the facts, and on logic. And I think on its own, it would be more of like a traditional leader, maybe someone at a corporate level where there's a chain of command. But again, in combination with another frame, which I think this one's extremely important to combine with any of these other frames, is the human resources frame that focuses attention on human needs and assumes that organizations that meet the basic human needs will work better than those that do not. Human resource leaders value relationships and feelings. They seek to lead through facilitation and empowerment. They tend to define problems in individual or interpersonal terms and look for ways to adjust the organization to fit the people. So this could be through training and workshops. So there's a responsiveness to needs and goals to be able to gain commitment and loyalty from workers. So I think all of these frames are extremely important, but the structural and human resources, I think, just tap into the essence to make a successful organization and a successful school. In reflecting on my process through the Cal APA, areas of strength was that I found that I was good at collecting data and presenting data to the group. So that was helpful in being able to identify any possible equity gaps in our practices at our school. I was, I think, effective at putting different ideas on the table and maybe getting some conversation going. So I think those were some areas of strength. In terms of growth, I think I need to get better, in working with adults, providing actionable feedback beyond the that's a good idea, or I think I've done something like that before. I've heard just actionable feedback where they could actually go back in there and make changes or modifications as they see fit in order to be more effective. And then also one thing, paraphrasing group ideas and decisions. So those are, I think, are important. That's important to do because it does 2 things. First, it gives you processing time to be able to process what was said, and then also you are repeating what they're saying to make sure that they got their point across to you correctly, so that there's no misunderstanding and that there is no lack of information in between that was lost. So again, that's something that I need to work on instead of just, hey, you said something, okay, that's a good idea, let's go, let's run with it. Recommendations for future action on my experience. So some of the things that we started doing in our small action group, our community of practice, should be school-wide practices. So something that is a part of our everyday culture. So yes, we do some lesson study as a whole group twice a semester during our PD, but we should be doing it more by departments. And I know that's a struggle at our school because some of our departments are one person big, departments of one. Our engineering department has two. Our so it's just difficult when we're so small, right? When you don't have partners to really work with. I think another practice that I think is important is to be able to share data with students and families regularly, not just once a semester or once a year because it's mandated, right? We should have data walls that are public, and you could track progress, right? Data talks with students. I think that's an awesome idea, so that students know where we're where we are as a school and compare it to other schools or state data as well. And then finally, student progress monitoring, just to make students aware of where they are, how they track their grades. And I think it's supposed to be, and they're learning, not just grades, but their actual learning and progress towards mastery. I think that's supposed to be a goal of mastery learning and grading, so that the expectations are clear and students receive multiple opportunities to demonstrate that mastery. It's not just a one and done type of deal. But then we also have to teach students how to be able to monitor their own progress as well. That pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. I just do want to say that this year in the Leadership Institute has been one of growth. I got to meet a lot of great people. Obviously, I'm out of my region. Again, I'm from LA Unified, and to travel out to the Inland Empire is a different adventure, but I got to see multiple perspectives to see how things are done in other school districts. So I do want to say thank you to all of you for sharing your experiences and your insights and your knowledge. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good one.